Good afternoon. We are on page 145. We are on lesson 8, session 1. We are working on writing decimals and reading and writing decimals. Ray told you guys earlier, we got to call it by its actual name. Now we're going to be actually writing it and calling it by its actual name. Can you please close the door, G-Pops? So, our learning target is to read and write decimals and thousands using base 10 numerals, number names, and expanded forms. For example, we have 347 and 392 thousandths. Or, which can also be written as 3 times 100 plus 4 times 10 plus 7 times 1 plus 3 times 1/10 plus 9 times 1 100th plus 2 times 1 1,000th. We're writing in expanded form, right? We've done that before, just now we're working on it, we're doing it with decimals. Learning target. I normally typically show you learning target, right? Look it up, show you how we did in the on the test. I'm going to make it really simple. None of us were even partially proficient. This is an area where we all need to work at. I looked it up, the whole grade needs to work on this. So we are going to work on this and make sure we get it down. So, first off, let's show how to write 754 in different ways. There's more than one way to write a number, right? Who wants to show us how to do it in a place value chart? Remember a place value chart is I had a chart like this. And I was to label it. Say this is my hundreds. This is my tens. This is my ones. Did that thing. You've done it before, right? So how many hundreds are there in this call?
How many hundreds?
Yeah.
There's 100.
No, how many hundreds is 754?
7.
7 hundreds. How many tens are there? Caden? There's 5 tens, which equals 50, right? And how many ones are there, Sydney? 4. That would be a 100 chart. Or you could write them as like 750.
You could write 7.
And then, yeah. Alright. Expanded form. How would we write this number in expanded form? We're going back to a little bit of old school on this. Who wants to go up here and write this one in expanded form? Gabe, why don't you come up here and write this one in expanded form?
I need to be YouTube famous.
You'll be YouTube famous someday, I'm sure.
I am.
Hopefully for the right reasons, probably not though. Close. Who wants to help him? You broke it apart, right? Who wants to help him
Would you like
write it in expanded form? Pick somebody to help you, Gabe. She broke it apart, right?
Yup, you broke it
Gabe
apart.
broke it apart. What does he need to do, though, to put it in expanded form? Show me how to do it, Jacob.
Not sure. I got this though. Don't you do that, and then a that, and then a that, and then a that.
Yeah, that's it.
That.
That's
Hey,
it.
hey,
You
hey,
can leave it
hold
right.
on.
You could add them together.
What's the thing called again?
Yeah.
This is expanded form. So, all you have to do, thank you, Jake. Thank you, Gabe.
You are so welcome.
All you need to do, you don't even need to do this equal sign. 700 plus 50 plus 4. That's an expanded form. Alright? Who wants to write it in word form? Nolan, come write it in word form. This is a long lesson. You'll get your turn.
It seems like it's.
Whoa. Word form means all words.
Oh, Mr. Patrick, it's a long lesson. It's a long lesson. 4 pages.
Yes. Yeah, so you just write down words. 754. Now, some of you might say, Mr. Patrick, when are we ever going to write a number out in word form? We're always going to put it in there. Mr. Richmond, what is the time that you would write a number out in word form? Do you know what time? They don't use them as much anymore, but they still use them.
Oh, I know. I think.
Think about a checkbook.
Oh, yeah.
A checkbook.
Oh, I know. Okay.
When you write a check, a personal check,
Vision.
you write the number in the little box, right? And how much money you're given. But then on the bottom, the middle line,
Spell it out.
you have to spell it out. You have to write it in word form.
You don't. What if you don't?
You don't, it's not a valid check.
That way, it can't be fraudulent. That way, somebody else couldn't fill in whatever they want. When you write the number up there, maybe you just put $5. Well, if you gave it to somebody, what if they added
2
2
zeros.
zeros to that 500? Well, you look over here to the actual writing, and it only says 5. That means somebody's trying to
Yeah.
be
It's to
fraudulent.
make sure no one's screwing around with your checks. If I gave Jordan a check that says $5 and I didn't fill out the word form, and he just adds 2 zeros after the 5, now I'm paying him $500, right? But if you write it out, Mr. Richmond working at the bank would say, this says $5, Sweezy, not 500. So that's why you need to be able to write numbers out into word form. It is just as important that you can write them in numerical form as it is in word form, right? So that's where we need to be able to do this. Alright, so number 1, try it. Jessica reads aloud from a science website. She comes across the measurement. I'm not going to read it out loud because you guys will give the answer. But that right there, meter. I'll just read it, 0.32 meter. How should she read this measurement aloud? Explain how you know. So I want you to write this down in word form, how Jessica would read this number aloud.
What?
So write it down in word form. See, you must work on your math, right? Is your math working there? No? There's something. Okay. So make sure you're writing in the word form. I see 0 point. It's not 0 point, is it? No. So I shouldn't see point. What do we say when we have a decimal point? And. Decimal point means and.
Sensitive spot, Mr.
That means it's sensitive, Cole.
I'm not sensitive. The sensitive. What is my sensitive spot?
Get to work, Cole. Get a pencil.
Mr. Patrick?
Yeah,
How do you spell 32?
that's on your own. You gotta try doing it. Alright, so. Shouldn't see point.
Are you serious?
Shouldn't see point. This is not a point. A point is a dot on a line. This is not a point.
You said the right hand. I wrote 8.
Alright, eyes up here. You could have done this one of 2 ways. You could have wrote 0 and what is it, 32? What place value is the 2 in?
The one.
Hundreds. So 0 and 32. 200s, alright? You could have wrote this. I also would take this though. 3200s. Because is there really anything to left the decimal point? No. So can I just call it 3200s and not say decimal,
Yeah,
not say
you don't
and
have to.
3200s?
You don't have to say 0.
You wouldn't have to say 0. Because there's nothing on the left side, right? So I would take either one. So I would say it's about 100's wrong here. I would take either one. Does that make any questions on that? How do I know that that's 32 hundredths or 0 and 32 hundredths? Lucas?
Because you can look, it has 1, 2, 3, it has 3 numbers, so it'd be 100.
Well, no. I'm how many places behind the decimal point? 1,
2.
2. What is 2 places behind the decimal point? What place value is it?
100.
The hundredths. We have our tenths, we have our hundredths. So we know it's the hundredths place. How would you pronounce this number if it wasn't a decimal point behind it? You just pronounce it 32, right? So you just pronounce it how you would pronounce it without decimal point, and then you include the last place value afterwards, okay? Does that make sense? Everybody get this?
Yes.
All right, because we're going to go down the tricky road here in a second. So Jessica read it aloud. We knew it because we looked at it. We said it looks like 32. The place value it's in is the hundredths place value, right? 32 hundredths. And there's nothing in the ones place. There's no holes, are there? Nothing left at decimal point. So, looking back, explain how to read 3200 aloud. You call it 32 hundredths, right? Number 2, looking ahead. On the previous page, you used word form, right? We used word form, correct?
Yes.
We wrote it out in word form. What form was it in before we read it out loud? Standard form. We took a word, we took standard form, we turned it into what? Word form. So we've used the 2 of the 3 forms. Which one haven't we used yet? Which form haven't we used yet? What is it, What is it, Nolan? Expanded form. Now we're going to talk about expanded form. Expanded form with decimals is a little bit different than expanded form would be for our normal whole number, right? So let's look at it. On the previous page, you used words to say the standard form of the decimal 32 hundredths, or 0 and 32 hundredths. You can also use expanded form to break apart a decimal by place value. So you break it apart by place value. Is that how we do expanded form with whole numbers? We break it apart by place value?
Yeah.
If I go back and I look at this one, I broke it apart in expanded form. I had 754, right?
Yep.
We said it was 700 plus 50 plus 4. Did we break it apart by place value?
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to do the same thing when breaking a decimal point into expanded form. You can use either decimals or fractions to write the expanded form of decimal. What did we say decimal and fractions are? Are they kind of the same thing? Think way back before break. We were talking about number lines, right? Does 1/10 line up on the decimal, on the number line, the same spot as 1/10? 1 over 10? If I have 1/10, would it line up where 1/10 would be on the frame? Yeah, they line up the same, right?
Yeah.
Can a decimal also be a fraction?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, a decimal can also be a fraction. So can we use decimals as well as fractions to do expanded form?
Yes.
Yeah, you can use a decimal or a fraction. They can be the same thing, right? So complete each missing number to show each 2 ways to write 32 hundredths in expanded form using decimals. So I have this. I have 32 hundredths. What am I going to break it apart into?
This is a tricky one.
What's it going to be broken apart to?
Would I just write 30 and then 2?
What I wrote, so you're saying like this?
Or 32
Point 30
and then 2.
and 2?
That's what I thought.
Isn't this plus this isn't an equal 5 tenths?
Why is that point there?
What, this or here?
No.
I'm breaking this apart. So what would it really be?
I don't know.
How many tenths do I have? 3, so what would I put here? 3 tenths, right? 3 tenths. And how many hundredths do I have?
2. So I got
And I put 2 hundredths here. Is that right?
Yep.
Would those two add up to equal? Did I break it apart by place value? Is this broken? Is this broken apart in place value?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it also to add up to equal 32 hundredths?
Yep.
Yeah. Does that work then?
Yes.
Yes. Now, let's go way back before Christmas break as well. I have timesing 1/10. What times 1/10 would equal 3/10? Chris? 3. So does 3 times 1/10 equal 3/10?
No.
So is this right here the same as this right here? Raise your hand if you think yes. Raise your hand if you think no. It is. Isn't 3 times 1/10 the same thing as 3/10?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, because 3 times 1/10 equals 3/10. And what would I put here? Times 100. What would I put there, Jake?
A 2?
Why would I put a 2?
Because it's equal to 2,000.
Not 2,000s, 2
100.
hundredths. 2 times 100th is equal to 200ths. Now let's take it a step further. Did we break it apart by decimal? In expanded form? Is that expanded form?
Yep.
Let's take it the rest of the way. Let's put it in expanded form using fractions. Alright, how many tenths are in this one?
3. What is this? 2.
3. There's 3 tenths, right? How many hundredths?
2.
So 3 tenths plus 2 100ths, does that equal 32 hundredths?
No.
Yes. Yes. So then, let's break it apart even further. If I take, what would I times 1/10 by to get 3 tenths? 3. What would I times 1 100th by to get 2 100ths?
2.
Lucas?
2.
2. Did we break it into expanded form using fractions?
Yes.
Is it as super complicated as it looks?
No.
No. Just understand that 1/10 is the same as 1/10. It's that easy, right?
Yeah.
Once you understand that the fraction 1/10 is the same as a tenth place, it all goes from there. How are the different expanded forms of 32 hundredths alike and different? So how is this one and this one alike?
Because
Amelia?
Because they're both being broken up into different.
What are they being broken apart into? Not fractions. What do we break them apart by in expanded form? Chris? Not tenths and hundredths, but what do we call those? Those are our 2 words. We have ones, we have tens, we have tenths, we have hundredths. What are those? Jake?
Decimals?
Not decimals, there are...
Oh, fractions!
No, not fractions. What do we break expanded form into? They are our place values. Did we break them apart by place value?
I was thinking.
So they're both broken into place values. They are both 32 hundredths broken into place value, right? Are both 32 hundredths broken into place values, right? Why? How are they different? How are they different? How is this one different than this one?
Because one.
Raise your hand, please. How are they different? Amelia?
Because one's being broken up into fractions, and then one's being broken up into like, decimals.
Yes. One is being broken into fractions, the other is being broken into decimals. One is broken into fractions. The other is in the decimals. Any questions on what we did today? We're going to keep going on that expanded form so we get a better understanding of it, alright?
It's hard.
It's hard, but it's just knowing our place values, right? We know our place values, we'll understand it. It all comes back to that base 10. Know your place values and we'll be okay, alright? Alright. Mrs. Heberling will come in. Those of you that are virtual, I want you working on the green pages, alright? Finish up the green pages for this lesson. We'll make the next video tomorrow.